I'm Professor Paul O'Brien, the Chief Executive of Elaros, which is a digital health company based in Sheffield. We're an unusual private company in the sense that we've got 4 NHS shareholders along with investors, angel investors I've brought in from Jersey, but we are a private company, and our focus is on digital health, developing diagnostic apps and tools and clinical web portals. So that's the company. In terms of how we connected with the University of Exeter, that was through Professor Helen Dawes, who we had the pleasure of working with on a very large 3.4 million National Institute for Health Research project with 8 other universities involved. And Helen stood out as being somebody who was just really, really thrusting and really, a really good person, really good partner to work with. And so we drew her into another project that we were doing, and which was around neuroscience, and we're looking potentially to develop a spin-out company, putting some of our IP and some of the IP of the University of Exeter into that vehicle, along with IP from an Italian university spin-out too. And then more recently, Elaros has secured funding from the UK government, from the Department of Work and Pensions and the NHS, to develop a platform for helping people with long-term sick issues and long-term sickness back into work. And Helen has been involved in that project, and also a former PhD of hers from the University of Exeter is also involved in that project, as are some other partners we brought in. The starting point has to be the person that you're working with. I don't think you've got to start with the individual, and you've got to start with that first step. And in the case of Helen, that was very, very straightforward and easy. And we built up mutual respect and trust over what is now 5 years. So I think it's that first step, reaching out and having the conversation and just seeing whether there are shared synergies that you can work from. And then, we then evolved that relationship on to the point where we have put one of our colleagues in from Elaros into the University of Exeter, who's now working as a senior fellow to Helen, Dr. Thomas Richards, who's our scientific director. So we've taken that initial link and developed all sorts of layers of relationship on top of that, and collaborative toing and froing, really, which has really worked. So I would say the most important thing is to take the first step and have the conversation to see whether there is a relationship to be had, and then running with it and seeing how you can evolve that relationship and iterate that relationship into something that works for you, really. And it works for us. We've worked really well with Helen over the last 5 years. I think the key thing is the relationship we have with all of those universities is valuable and worthwhile and important to us. But obviously, we put different store in some of those relationships. So some of them can be quite transactional. Some universities aren't really, from a how they engage with business angle, and not necessarily able to see beyond something very transactional. And at the other end of the spectrum are those universities that really get it and really understand that it's about developing relationships, and those relationships can be layered and multi-layered. And so we've put Exeter into that category, where you start to work and you realize you can work, and therefore you start to try and add other elements to that relationship. And so Exeter's at that end of the spectrum. And then there are other universities I won't mention that are very immediate and very transactional and very short term. So but from our perspective, all those relationships are valuable, but you keep on coming back to the ones where you've got layers and layers of history and collaboration and success, and that's kind of where we are with the University of Exeter at the moment.